Welcome, welcome. We got all of our tech things happening. My name's Pyeng Threadgill, and I am here today to celebrate the first of this conversation series entitled A Way In, Opening the Gates to Your Voice. And I have my wonderful friend and such a beautiful artist, mother. We've collaborated on workshops. We've had conversations that have been uplifting and nourishing. And I'm just so happy to have her here. Ayelet Rose-Gottlieb.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for doing this, Pyeng.
Yeah, it's so good to have you.
You too.
Um, So I just wanted to share with you all a little bit about what inspired this series. Last year, some of you may know that in 2023, actually, to preface this, I released my first book. It's a memoir, a creative memoir entitled Lost and Found, Finding the Power in Your Voice. And I wanted to do a series of conversations with the various collaborators who had been a part of helping me to make this book. So we did several Instagram lives last year, about 7 months of them. And it was called Lost and Found Behind the Book, where I talked with Alexis Quadrado, for example, who co-wrote the music for my audiobook with me. I spoke with my editor, April. I spoke with Nikki Starcat Shields, whose writing group I was in, that was such a big part of me putting this work out. And this year, I wanted to offer a conversation series just on creativity itself. And this title came to me, Opening the Gates, A Way In, Opening the Gates. And one of the people who quickly came to my mind was Ayelet. We've had so many like weaving moments through the pandemic. And so we're going to be talking about this idea around opening the gates to your creativity. But first, I wanted to start us off sharing an excerpt from the book. So this is Lost and Found. Look, it says Pyeng's copy. So,
Mhm.
um, and there's a piece in here entitled The Guarded Gate. And for those of you who don't yet have a copy of the book or haven't heard the audiobook, this is a collection of personal essays, poetry, prose, monologues, all about the voice and finding one's artistic voice, finding one's authentic voice. And so I wanted to read this piece. It's a monologue. It's called The Guarded Gate. I'm just going to share a bit of it. The Guarded Gate, Washington Heights, 6 p.m. A medium built black woman in her 50s stands in white capri shorts, a t shirt, and a baseball cap. She has a fold up lawn chair in her hand and a large straw bag over her shoulder. She leans against a wide brick entryway. Gloria. I don't know. I don't know what I was worrying about. Look at these children. Look at these young girls worried they ain't got nothing. Adding eyelashes, adding hair, stretching their faces on those phones. Those phones.
Mhm.
But they got a whole lot of something in every direction. Up here, here, back there. You see that gate? You see it? You see there's all them plants and bushes and a few thorns here and there. That's only natural. See, everyone thinks that the gate is locked. It's never been locked.
Mhm.
Everybody just expects it to be. You can walk right up and go on through. I've been sitting here because I got all this yarn here that I forgot about while I was busy worrying. This yarn was just growing, piling up, piling up. And finally, one day I said, enough.
I
So,
love this book, Pyeng.
yay,
It's
thank
really fantastic. It jumps through your timeline and the combination of poetry with like stream of consciousness with prose, it's all in there, and it's really fabulous
Oh, thank
and informative too, I find.
you.
And
Thank
the
you.
audiobook is exceptional.
Thank you. It's like
Really
a
good
whole other
throughout it.
experience, right?
It is entirely.
Yeah, yeah. I thank you for that. I definitely feel like, I was kind of sharing this. We were talking about this before, but there were several people. It was so crucial being in a writing group that really
Hmm.
helped me. But, also just having community. And I feel like this is a big thing that I feel like you're a big advocate for, and myself as well. Like this idea of really creating birthing spaces
Hmm.
for art and creativity, right? And in like encouraging that and creating like nourishing soil for all
Hmm.
people to come, And so, um, do you want to share a little bit about, like how you've come to this idea around creating a community because you created the orchard for pomegranates?
Hmm.
Space, I feel, right? To be able to like nurture other folks and their creativity.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it was kind of a moment of download,
Mm.
which I'm sure we'll talk about the downloads
Yes,
sometime
yes.
today. But we moved into this house, which is the first time I'm living in a house in my life.
Wow.
Um, and there was suddenly this space that I could imagine, oh, I could do workshops here, I could do house concerts here, and what would I call the whole thing? And then I thought immediately of the quote from the Song of Songs, an orchard of pomegranates. Um, I don't remember the translation of the rest of the phrase, but in Hebrew it's Pardes rimonim im pri megadim, which is like with precious fruits, an orchard of pomegranates with precious fruits, or something like that.
Ah,
And it made me think of this kind of like this broad thing that could hold all
mm,
of the different parts of what I wanted to
mm,
offer.
mm,
Um,
mm.
and that's how that came about. And slowly through these workshops, this community was formed. And during the pandemic, especially, it kind of grew thanks to the online
Yeah,
revolution.
right. Totally, totally.
And we reconnected through the online
Through the online
thing.
world. Yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. It's been so powerful. I was saying, like I really connected with folks like yourself and built deeper relationships during a time when we were like literally couldn't be together. I think it was like
Yeah.
this interesting irony, um, which kind of makes me think about creativity. I mean, I'm curious because you started the orchard and with this desire to create workshops and create like a creative space center, right? Um, and I know you teach, we both teach as well. And one of the reasons that I wrote this book was really inspired from my students.
Mm.
Like a lot of the things that I would hear students say, for example, oftentimes when people call me, one of the things that they'll often say is, I really want to find my voice.
Yeah.
Really want to find my voice. I really want to be able to sing and feel more connected to my body. I want to feel more connected to my breath. I really want to find my authentic voice. I used to sing, but I was singing musical theater, and I never really found the songs that feel right for me, for example.
Hmm.
Um, and so, part of that was a lot of the inspiration to write these things. And at the same time, I often hear students having similar kinds of issues where they're just having blocks. And I don't
Hmm.
know, like, I'm curious if there are kind of any sort of common things that you hear from folks that you work with or in your community around issues where they're just maybe having writer's block or getting perhaps feeling like fearful or doubtful or getting in their own way, or any themes that you've
Yeah.
noticed?
I mean, what I've kind of established in this community is a series of practices to help kind of untangle these blocks.
Mhm.
So we meet once a month to share works and processes. And we call that Creative Heart Circle. So we
Mm,
meet there to kind of talk about those places, those challenges. Sometimes there's nothing to share, and that's something to share. You know. Um, and
mm.
then we also have an ongoing dream weave, which is an online thread. I think you're on it,
Yep,
where,
I am. I get
where
regular sort of like interesting, just like threads of ideas, you know?
uh-huh.
Yeah,
We just drop our dreams in there, not our like our night dreams.
yeah.
Um, and it's so fascinating. And then at the end of each month, I make a collage, like inspired by the collective dreams of the group. Which is just another way into our creativity. I find that the dreams are just such a resource that we all have
Mm,
that we can use whenever we're feeling stuck. There's something you can go to
mm,
that's from your own subconscious and your own
mm.
like imaginary world, right? Yeah.
Tell me, okay, so like two different things that I'm thinking about. One is that you have recently released this gorgeous album called
Mhm.
Dust. Everyone should get it. Order your copy if you don't already have it. Um, and I know that dreams and sourcing from dreams is such a big part of your practice.
Mhm.
But kind of want to know like both maybe how did that influence dust, but also how did you come to that? How long has that been a part of your practice? I'd love to hear about
It's been a part of my practice since like early childhood in a way. I remember myself waking up with like dream music when I was a
that.
small child.
Mm,
And that's actually how I started to compose music.
mm,
I had this reoccurring musical dream and I didn't have the tools to write it. And then I composed my first song and I thought, like, now I'll be able to slowly, like, kind of download this music from my head, and the dream stopped. So it's always been my feeling that this music will come back to me on my deathbed and will be the last thing I do.
wow, wow.
Because I only remember the sense, the
Yeah.
sensory feeling of it. I don't remember the music. I remember it was a large piece with many instruments, and there were these swirling colors. It was a really cool piece of music. I hope it comes back at some point.
Yes.
Yeah. And I actually started to develop this dream thread following, I did a training in deep listening, Pauline Oliveira's concepts of deep listening. And during that course, Ione, who is Pauline's partner and her own just incredible force of nature, she came to teach a master class. And her approach to dreaming and to using dreams in your just everyday life, to being conscious of your dreams 24/7, listening in your dreams, just that opened the door for me to say, oh, I could actually bring this into my practice, not just for myself, but for other people as well.
Mm,
And that's when I started to incorporate that in my teaching, really, and in
mm.
my working with people.
Oh wow, wow.
Yeah. Do
That's
you dream music, Payeng?
Um, I do not so often though. I kind of shared with you. I more time like there's been sometimes that I will hear a little bit of music in a dream, but usually it's that I hear other people's music in my dream.
That's cool. Like a
So
song that you know would come in
yeah,
and
you
kind
know,
of
like
send you a
well,
little message.
yeah, well, like or like if I'm hearing other people's music. So I shared with you with Dust. I was listening this past week. And after listening, I was just hearing your first track on loop in my mind through the whole day and through the whole night.
Oh, amazing.
So, like in my sleep, I'm like hearing a song. It's really wild, I'm raising my hand. But yeah, it's really a wild experience. And I did have a dream about it was like a song about the fire that I tried to write, but
Wow.
I haven't, I'm so interested in this part of your practice because it's like, and I love learning now that it's always been a part of your practice
Hmm.
because I have not yet like sourced fully from that. I feel like I'm more of a daydreamer.
Which is also legit dreaming, right?
I am like a full on, and that has been
Going
every
into
17
going
years.
into that space
Like
is the important thing.
it's like I have to, bring myself, here on planet Earth because I really happily want to go into daydream space. That's like definitely my nature. So I think that that's probably part of it. Yeah.
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 I
Um,
think I think the important thing is to have your what I call the dream catchers, like your notebook or your recording device or whatever you need to capture those moments, to just have that like in your pocket always. So if you have this moment of inspiration or you find yourself dozing into a daydream or a night dream or whatever kind of thing, you can claim that moment and like write it down before it disappears.
yes. I know I
And
have
even
about
that dream about your fire song dream, even if it's not the exact thing you dreamt, but you have a feeling
mm,
of that music. So even in retrospect, you can access that and write that song, and it would be different than what you had dreamt, but it would have like something of that essence, right?
oh, I love that. That's really a great thank you. That's a great reminder. Yeah, that we can still kind of like tap into the feeling it gave us or the essence. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Okay, I want because we talked about it. Can you share this first track since we're talking about dreaming?
Sure.
Um,
And
and
I want to say the band is called Dream Keepers,
yeah,
uh, based on the Langston Hughes poem, The Dreamkeeper. And the first song is based on that poem. And with me are Stefan Diamantakiou on contrabass, Hamin Honari on Persian hand percussion, and Bernard Feliz on guitars. So I'm gonna
yeah,
see if I can share this music.
great.
Okay. Tell me if you hear it. Wrong song. There it is.
Bring me all of your dreams, you dreamers. Bring me all of your heart melody. Bring me all of your dreams, you dreamers, that I may wrap them in blue cloud cloth. Bring me all of your dreams, you dreamers, that I may wrap them in blue cloud cloth. Away from the too rough fingers. Oh, your dreams, you dreamers, that I may wrap them in blue cloud cloth, away from the too rough world.
Yeah.
Thank you, love.
Great. Oh my gosh. It's
And
such
I was
a,
thinking as we were listening that the second part, the Hebrew part,
yes.
is actually really to do with our title because it says a prayer will emerge in the darkness from the lowly soul,
Hmm.
and uh, and it basically it knocks on the locked gates.
Ah, wow.
So
Wow.
it fits.
Wow. I was going to ask you, I was like, wait a second, I forgot about this part. And I love
Mm,
that part of the song.
thank
There's so
you.
many things about this song. It's like one sequencing. I love sequencing of an album, and it's such a great opening.
Oh, thank you.
It really feels like I told you yesterday, but I love the percussion. I love the sparseness of it, the sparseness of the instrumentation, and that it's like the voice and the percussion, and it kind of just feels like these footsteps in a way, and like you're sort of standing there, again. So, this is what I mean my imagination, the daydreamer in me. I listen to this, and it's like your album feels very much like a piece of theater to me.
Oh, wow.
Like when I was listening to it, I was like, wow, this is sort of wild. It's an album, but it kind of sounds like theater. Like it's like I can kind of see it as a theatrical musical
Peace.
piece.
Mm,
And this opening, it just like I have this sort of feeling of you sort of standing out. It's like you're on a mountain or you're like in the desert or something, and it's like you're calling everybody, hey, dreamers, come on, dreamers, and yeah, and then the refrain of it is like kind of like this chant.
mm-hmm,
It's kind of like this chant, the way that chants can kind of put you to sleep, the way
mm-hmm.
that chants can kind of wake you up, the way that chants can kind of like call up just what you're doing, like call up. It sort of reminds me of the performance piece we did last year in Montreal, where we
Yeah.
had this very kind of like witch's brew sort of evocative thing where it feels like you're kind of like pulling out of people without them even knowing, hey, there's some dreams in you, like allowing them to come up.
Yeah.
I feel like that all comes through in that first piece to me.
Thank you so much. And I feel like in a way, like those poetic moments in the book
Mm,
are that kind of, like little dreamscapes of your reality, like the piece about the rollerblades.
yes, 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 yes.
Like it's almost surreal, even though it's real, but it feels almost surreal,
Yeah,
right? The way that it's given and written.
yeah.
It's
Oh
yeah,
my
it's really.
gosh, amazing. Well, I'm curious, like, how did you, for people who are listening, and we want to definitely invite those of you who are with us live, if you have questions, we definitely would love to hear from you if you have any questions. Um, I'm just curious for those folks who are listening who maybe they're in a little bit of like a dip in their creativity, or maybe they're kind of feeling stuck. Maybe they're working on something and they don't really know if it's any good. Like, what was your approach to dust? And
Mhm.
also, you already named some things in terms of always having your dream catchers with you.
Mm.
But I'm curious, like, what were some of the ways that you approached creating the music for this project?
Well, I think more generally, maybe not specifically to dust, but
Yeah.
also in the process of dust. Um, what I try to do is to separate the two worlds, the world of download and creativity and the world of editing and like brain work. Because I think those two don't go super well together, right?
That's right.
So I try to allow, when I'm in creative mode, allow for downloading, and I try to encourage the people I work with to do the same, to just kind of let stuff out and not judge it and not edit it as you're going, but allow a stream of consciousness to come out. Whether it's music or text, both, just kind of allow for ideas to come. And
Mhm.
then afterwards, go into the editing mode and kind of chop away at it and say,
Yeah.
oh, this sentence works and this is garbage. This can go,
Yeah.
because of course there'll be garbage in the download.
Yes.
But you have to find those little pearls, those moments where something golden came out of you. But that stuff won't come out if you edit yourself as you go.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, exactly. You and I were talking about this some, and I used to one thing that I did many years ago as a little bit of a practice to help me actually kind of separate the multiple voices in my head.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, I sort of, I arranged the book into three different kind of sections, your intuitive voice, the sound of your voice, and your artistic voice.
Hmm.
But one of the things that I notice when I'm working with students is that their critical voice, or, that editor voice, will come in even in a voice lesson
Mhm.
right away. And I go, well, just so you know, we're still just warming up, and we often usually will laugh, because they go, oh, I don't know, it doesn't sound that good. I say, well, we're still warming up, so it's okay. Let's just let your voice warm up. Um, but when used to write some years ago, and I would sit at the piano and I'd be composing, and I would start to have like a negative voice, my editor coming in, I would actually write down what that voice was saying, almost so that I could take
Oh,
it
I love
out
that.
of, like, almost exercise it, take it out and go, okay, because it was interrupting me, it was getting in the
Right.
way. And I said, okay, you want some attention? I'll give you a little attention.
I
And
love that.
and it's like it allowed me to then notice, oh, that's just like one part of me, but I don't have to listen to that. But I needed to listen
Or
to.
maybe it'll be valuable later.
Exactly, exactly. Totally valuable later. I love that thing of, I think Elizabeth Gilbert and many others talk about, of like, you can have your editor in the car, just don't let them drive right away, right?
Yeah.
Like, don't let your inner critic drive the car. They can be in the back, like, let them be in the back seat. They're always going to be kind of popping up from time to time, but you go, I'm driving.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right? And when I was writing this book, similar to what you're saying, one of the things that was so helpful was to just note, I'm in downloading mode, I'm in creative flow mode, I'm not in editing mode. And then
Yeah.
when I'm in editing mode, that's a whole other hat that I'm wearing.
Right.
Feel like that is so common that their editor zooms in and they don't even recognize that they've come into the room,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and it shuts you down
Yeah,
before it's time.
yes, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
It's important to have a critical editor,
Yeah.
whether it's yourself or an external person. That's really important to the
Mm,
creative process,
mm,
because otherwise you're kind of like in a mush.
yes.
But there's a time for that in the process, and it's not right at the start.
Not at the beginning, right? Do you think that there's like is I don't even know if what the answer is for this, but do you think that there's a middle stage that's identifiable, because like there's the download, there's the opening the faucet, and then
Mm,
there's the editing at the end, as we know, where we're refining and we're kind of like going through and making sure everything that's in here we want to be in here. It's really
mhm.
serving the project and what we wanted to do, the song, the poem, etc.
Right.
But some I was just thinking about, is there like a testing ground that we ought to be exploring, when we're kind of in that mid space, or is that just kind of part of the way of working toward editing?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's valuable to have external eyes after your download, maybe, or maybe after one round of editing,
Yeah. Okay.
have another person look at it that you trust. I
Yeah.
think that's really valuable.
Yeah.
And then that gives you perspective, and you can go into editing yet again from a more informed place of how some things that may seem really clear to you might not be clear externally, or some things that are, um, maybe could be too obvious or too banal,
Yeah.
or, it's nice to get that feedback
Yeah.
from someone you trust and understand that it's also one person's opinion, and you might
Right.
not take it also.
Right.
Your editor might say, I'm not listening to that.
That's right. That's right. Yes, that's really great. Um, I just want to check in and see if we have, I don't know if there are any questions coming up at all in our comments. I don't see
I don't
anything.
see any
Hi, Con.
questions.
Um, so if anybody has any questions, if you're watching this, and also if you watch it after the live, we'll still be checking in. So
Yeah.
definitely, yeah, we're happy to hear that. So we talked a little bit about this, but I'm curious again, like how you approached dust yourself. How long did it take you? Like, how did you come to it? And also, it's such a cool. I mean, when you look at it from your prior album,
Mm.
13 Lunar Meditations, it's even these titles are so great. 13 Lunar Meditations to Dream Keepers, to dust.
Mm.
It's like so beautiful. But I'm curious, what was this process like for you? Did it come quickly? Like, how did it come together?
The band got a very generous Canada Council grant to write music for this album. We had one or two songs. This was one of the songs that was previously composed.
Mm,
But we got this grant, and so we had a year to workshop the music and play with it. So we each brought in things and kind of collaborated on shaping them and making them into this repertoire. And I took on the job of finding texts and poetry that fit with my own, but also other people's compositions, and that was really fun, especially on the pieces I didn't compose. I really enjoyed like figuring out how the voice comes into the composition. Am I singing the pre-written line, or am I kind of creating another melodic line on top of the composition, or how am I interacting with this other person's vision?
mm,
Um, and the one thing that I knew I wanted to do was to use all of my ancestors' languages. So we worked with seven different languages. Hamin, who is Iranian, his cousin, who is actually in Tehran, recited in Farsi, and we used English. And aside from that, we had Yiddish, Ladino, Arabic, Hebrew, and French, which are all of my ancestral languages that I mean, I speak Hebrew and English and a little bit of French. Um, and the rest of it is kind of lost to me.
yeah.
So it was nice to bring in the Ladino and the Yiddish and the French also into my mouth and into my singing practice. It was really a fun challenge for me
Mm, mm,
to to feel those languages and to
yes,
to really sing
exactly.
in them.
Yes. I love I love learning languages, so I totally resonate with that. How when you speak another language, I don't know if that's experience for you, but it's like it's a different energy,
Yeah.
different sound colors. different energy. Like I love that part of languages so much. Ever since I was a little kid, I've always
Yeah.
um, and you and I have actually co-taught some
Yeah.
ancestry workshops, creative
Mhm.
workshops. So I would just, I know that that's important to you as it is to me in terms of your creative process, but also just kind of your own personal spiritual practice.
Okay.
Um, how did you decide to bring that in, even?
I don't even remember what made me decide that, but it felt like a natural progression from the 13 lunar meditations where I had all these different languages
Mm,
of the different writers. Because in 13 lunar meditations, I asked many women around the world to write little poems that I then composed in their languages.
mm,
Um, and here I wanted myself to reclaim my own languages.
mm,
So it was kind of a natural next step in a way.
mm. Ah, I love it. I love it.
And it's nice because every time I sing in Yiddish, I would think about my specific ancestors who spoke that language or, any of these languages. And for Arabic, I didn't sing in Arabic as much as we sampled an Kulthum
Okay.
recording,
Okay.
which is something that I inherited. The love of classical Arabic music I inherited from my grandfather, who used to listen to the Jordanian radio station and listen to this music, and that's how I kind of learned about it and fell in love with it.
Mm,
So it's
yeah.
a deep exploration of my relationship with these individuals.
Yes. Yes. There's actually, I don't know which piece is it. Oh, I guess it's the piece Beads, right? Is the
That's
one where,
dedicated to him.
yes, where
Yeah.
I love that piece of
Yeah.
you talking to your grandfather, just, and there's like kind of this urgency in your that I really love. Yeah, 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 yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
Um, well, I know that we have been on for a little bit. I just want to check in and see, do we have any voices? No, okay. Any voices written? Well, I this is like I'm trying to decide, do we go off on this one, which is that we both have this might be, yeah, this might be a good place to go. We both have this connection to being mothers
Yeah.
and being artists. And even in releasing a project, it is like this own kind of birthing, right? This very
Mhm.
creative process. And just before we kind of finish, I just want to tap into this of
Mhm.
how do you hold those things, both being a mother and also being a musician and a composer. I'm curious, like how you hold the two, and does the one feed the other? Uh,
Mm.
and just sometimes do they just need separate feeding? you know,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, I'm just curious how that's been.
I think it's both for me. Definitely becoming a mother changed my music a lot.
Mm.
It
Tell
really
me,
did.
tell
I
me
mean, first of
how.
all, I made one lullabies album when the kids were babies. And then after that, I went into the studio with them and with Anat Fort and Eric Lawrence to record kind of a fully improvised album with the babies, with the kids who
Mm,
were then 2 years old and 7 months old.
mm,
So it really fed into my music. But I feel like even past those two projects, their presence is part of everything now. I mean, I can't. They're a point of reference to everything in a way. Um, but definitely, of course, sometimes there's need for like, okay, now you'll stay somewhere and I'll go into a room and close the door
yeah.
and to be able to make things. But I feel like motherhood, the thing that it taught me more than anything was to work in the cracks of life. Like when I was younger, before I had the kids, if I wanted to compose a big piece, I would lock myself in and kind of
Yeah.
like be in that space for weeks at a time. And that was marvelous, but I don't have that luxury at the moment.
Mhm.
So I learned to take, if I have a half an hour to use it somehow to do something creative. It might be just improvising, it
Mhm.
might be anything at all. Like when I was just in Greece and there was one day at the pool, we were all at the pool and I had this melody and I ran to my dream catcher to record
Right.
it, and it's just like this little crack in time where you get this moment of inspiration and you just kind of pluck at it and catch it.
Mm.
I feel like that's something that definitely this multitasky life as a mother teaches you. How are you feeling with it? I mean, you're at the other end of the
Totally.
motherhood spectrum in a way.
It's true, but like just like you're saying, I feel like I'm still digesting and like when my daughter went to college, she's going to be graduating this year, but when she
Yeah.
started, that was when I like felt like I had time where I was sort of understanding how she'd informed all the years prior
Wow.
because now she's leaving. So then, you start reflecting on, whoa, like, hold on a second. Everything's been about you being in this space, and now you're
Yeah.
not going to be in this space. You know, and I love what you're saying about the cracks because I do feel that it's almost a thing that parents could really teach folks who don't have children is like how to use small pockets of time
Mhm.
to be creative because often so many times that's another thing that I feel like people say is I don't have enough time. I don't
Right.
right. I work a full-time job. Like when am I going to practice? When am I going to and this idea of like there's an opening, there's a crack, there's a gate, right? There's like a little gate that's open and just use that little moment. So I feel like I learned how to become so much more productive in shorter pieces of time
Mhm.
to recognize the value of what I'm doing in those moments because it used to be like, oh, that's just a small idea. And then I realized, oh, right. But then we just take time and regularly go in and expand it.
Exactly.
Right.
Mhm.
The other thing, though, that for me personally, like being a mother informed my whole behind the scenes process.
Uh-huh.
When my daughter was little, I was really trying to keep up at the tempo of everybody else who didn't have kids. And I feel like I've
You
watched,
write so beautifully about that in the book too.
thank you.
So
It's like,
so genuinely and vulnerably.
yes, it was really, I was really doing it. And I've watched every one of my friends who's had children do the same thing. So,
Yeah.
when I was doing it, I was like, kind of kicking myself, like, oh, I shouldn't have pushed myself so hard. Why did I do that? And then I would watch 2 years later, 4 years later, 5 years later, another friend have kids and see them trying to keep up and
Mhm.
then see them kind of burn out and then see them slow down.
Uh-huh.
I said, okay, this is just kind of oftentimes what happens for us,
Mm.
and just learning that we can be productive when when things are slower.
Yeah.
That it's sort of has recalibrated time for me, and I'm still trying to adapt because I think capitalism makes us feel that we should be producing every minute, every second of
Hmm.
every minute, every day. And you
Yeah.
put out an album like this great album, or you put out my audiobook and immediately feel like you should be putting out another thing.
When's the next one coming?
It's like, wait a second, wait, can't this thing breathe and, like be
Yeah.
digested? And can't I also have my post part of, like have my time post birth, And I feel like we often have to claim that
Mm.
because society isn't really always going to necessarily offer that to us.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
I
and
definitely
that
feel
can be
like I'm in that
challenging.
pocket. What's that? That can be challenging.
It can be
Yeah.
challenging, like, because it's like, oh, yeah, so, yeah, I know you came out with an album. So, what's the next thing? And you're like, wait
Exactly.
a second. I,
Yeah.
I just I'm still dealing with this album, you know?
Yeah.
You know? So that's one of the biggest pieces of like integrating. Um, I have an acupuncturist who says, well, you know, you can work restfully, you know,
Mm,
really trying to think about, reframe how I'm approaching work or composing, and that it can be fluid, and that it can be spacious, and that there's up and down times, there's receiving time, there's downloading, there's, you know,
yeah.
um, but yeah, I feel like naming that and writing about it really helps
Mhm.
me personally to kind of validate myself in it. That makes
Mhm.
Yeah,
To not beat yourself up about your down moments.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And to know that that's also when things are getting created, you know, when things are
Yes.
being processed and things are actually there. That's the gestation period. Like
Yes.
just because we can't see it, you know, that stuff is
It's not yet a thing, but it's a like a potential.
yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh. So, yeah, so I just wanted to share that for folks listening too, that if you are in a space of things seeming quiet, that, you know, maybe things are growing underground.
Yeah.
And, you know, that also one thing that I find I always like to encourage, and so part of the reason I brought you on is to find a community of like-minded folks.
Hmm.
I think that that's really, really helpful. And I've gone to different communities. I've been in the Orchard for Pomegranates. You could reach out to Ayelet in the Orchard for Pomegranates. You can reach out to me. Um, there, last year I was part of a visual artist group for mothers all year long. It was wonderful. So
Special.
really, I just really find it so helpful when you're around folks who are in this creative process to just help know that, you know, that things kind of ebb and flow,
Yes.
right? Yeah, yeah.
And there are the big moments, and then there are the little special ones
Yes.
that just pop up and not to neglect them.
Yeah.
Mm.
Mm, mm. Well, so tell folks, I mean, I think most people know, but where they can learn more about the Orchard and your music and where you're playing or how to be in touch.
I mean, the best way, I guess, is to go on my website, ayeletrose.com, and there everything lives there.
Okay, great, 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 great. And do you have, is there anything coming up soon that you are looking forward to, excited about?
I'm looking forward really to dive deeper into this repertoire and to do more bookings and play more with this band that I love so very much.
Mm,
And I feel like we've put in so much work into this music, and I wanted to live for a minute, as we were just saying. I wanted to just kind of keep
mm,
growing,
yeah,
even just with this repertoire, and maybe from that more will come, more music. But for now, I'm kind of in a I don't want to create new things. I want to live with this project for a minute.
love that. Love that. I totally, I know that space when you're just like, I just want to be in this soup for a while. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
And it
great.
sounds like you're so much still working with the book and with the content of it. Uh,
Yeah, I am. As you know, I'm working on new music inspired by the writing in the book. So it's kind of like this book now it's kind of got three iterations. You know,
mhm.
you wrote the book, and there's the hard copy for those that want to read a hard copy. And then yes, and then there's the audiobook that has the live music that Alexis Quadrado and I co-composed based off of all my past albums.
Mm.
And now it's like phase three is writing completely new music inspired by the writing.
Yeah.
And I am enjoying, and I guess I want to offer that too, that sometimes we can do more with what we have than we think of. But that's something that I've found because I also really want creating to be like restorative and sustainable. And I
Mhm.
think that that thing of like feeling like we always have to come up with something new to me really stresses me out,
Mhm.
you know?
Mhm.
And so this idea that like I have this book and this could be so many things. I could use it in so many ways. I can teach with it, I can write music with it, I can read from it. That for me feels like sustainable and
Yeah.
realistic as a human being, as
Yes.
opposed to, okay, like I need to come up with 10 new projects.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. So, yay! Well, thank you so much. I really look forward to hearing people's thoughts and reflections. Folks, as you watch this, please let us know what resonated and definitely reach out to Ayelet, reach out to myself, get a copy of Dust, and I just look forward to seeing
Kind of
everyone.
lost and found.
Yes!